Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting edition of Community Report on Channels Television. I'm Victoria Idowu. On this episode of the show, we're taking a look at beading. Beading as a fashion accessory, as a jewelry, and also, put on clothes, outfits, fabrics, and throw pillows and the likes. Welcome to the show. Fashion is an expression of beauty or aesthetic in the way a person looks, from the clothing, footwear, lifestyle, accessories, makeup, hairstyle, and more. While some usually keep it simple with their outfit, some may embellish it with some enhancements like beads. Beads are small, round, perforated objects strung together to form a necklace, bracelet, or other items attached to clothes. Beads are made of a variety of materials like glass, copper, wood, silver, brass, coral, pearls, precious stones, and more. The history of the use of beads can be traced back centuries. Beads hold ancient roots and cultural significance and can be traced to their early use in battering. It also served as a primitive currency and still retains its value till date. Now it's mostly and significantly used as fashion accessories and different items. With the fashion, garment and footwear industry in Nigeria at $4.7 billion, contributing 0.74% to the total GDP figures for Nigeria, the beading market, which is but one small aspect of the industry, has relatively few hands in it. Olashubami has been a jeweler for 17 to 18 years, specializing in creating handcrafted jewelry from scratch.
It's been a hobby so far, up to like a few years ago when I decided that, okay, let me take this more seriously. So for me, I've been interested in I'd loved fashion, but jewelry was something I really loved. I wanted something specific. So that was how I got into jewelry making generally. So I started with bead making and improved from there to metal work, and now I combine both of them together.
The journey for most people starts from the learning stage.
The first thing was I knew like a neighbor that was into beadwork, and I had asked her to introduce me to the beadwork and teach me a few things, and I said after that she taught me for like 2 weeks. I paid for 2 weeks training. She taught me, and then from there I started going online, checking out some new things, and over time I decided, okay, let me start selling this. I can't just be making everything, because once I make, people like them and like, oh, this is lovely, and say, okay, I can sell it for this price, and that's how it really started. So after a while I met people that would say, oh, I just don't wear this, I'd rather have it in gold because I'm reacting to some part of it. So I decided to go and learn metal smithing. And I looked for a goldsmith around, and I got one in Yaba. That was when I started my apprenticeship. So I was combining that with studying in University of Lagos. After that, I decided to travel abroad to learn in different schools. So I've gone to different schools in the US, in the UK. I've gone to Russia. Anywhere I just find something new about jewelry, I want to go there and learn. So I've actually accumulated different schools to be able to improve my knowledge on jewelry making.
Creating a market in an industry where people would rather buy imported jewelries could not have been an easy feat.
Some people that knew me as maybe relatives or friends would buy from me out of let's encourage this girl, not because I was selling what they really wanted. So they'd say, oh, when I travel to Dubai, I'll get what I really want. So for me, it was more like, what is it that you really want that cannot be made here? My idea had always been that they're human beings that make it abroad. So why is it not that we can't make it here? So I started making research from there. And then I go to them and say, what is it that you like? Can you show me a picture? Then I find out the technique that was used to make it. Then I make something like that. And that's how I've been able to channel the sales from just helping me to selling things that the customers really want. So I specialize in customized jewelry. I sit with the customer and say, what do you really want? these are the kind of things I can do, what can you do? So they give me the idea of this is what I like, this is what I buy when I travel, and I try to create that. So over time I've been able to build a customer base on that.
To create a product of international standard requires using authentic materials.
I work with gemstones that are mined and carved here in Nigeria, you know, and they're really lovely gemstones. We have a lot of gemstones in Nigeria. We have gold in Nigeria as well. So I'm not restricted to only materials from there. It's just people just don't know. And what's important is to enlighten them. So for instance, I have beyond the beadwork, I have a wedding ring line where I introduce a lot of people in using gemstones that are found here in Nigeria for their wedding rings. For instance, I have peridox here that I'm wearing, and it's actually mined here in Nigeria and cut in Nigeria. A lot of places in Nigeria. I'm not a gemologist, and but there are a lot of gemologists in Nigeria that can tell you every single place. You can find a lot in the north. You can find in even Ogun States here, Ekiti State. There's so many gemstones in different parts of the country that you can find. It's just people just don't know, and there's not that. So those gemstones can also be carved into beads that we use in making the jewelry, or set as gemstones for embellishment, like centerpieces that we use for the beadwork.
With gemstone gold available in Nigeria, this could be the next oil if properly harnessed.
It's a very expensive business. Getting the tools and equipment is something that is really such a big deal. Yeah, not even the materials in stringing the beads now, or making the embellishment itself. It's actually about the tools and equipment in making it and sustaining that. There are a lot of students that I've taught in the past that one of the issues that they have is that it's very capital intensive. So if there was like a place that they could go to use the equipment, or something that the government has, or there's a recreative thing, I don't know, something that could just help everybody that wants to get into the trade to be able to make that convenient for them. I think that's one thing that will help.
Working out from her home in Lagos, it's important to reach a wider market for sales to be made possible, and that can only be done when the job speaks for you.
I still face the challenge of it's better out there than in Nigeria. But one of the things that has helped is your product is what will prove you right or wrong. So a lot of times I get my customers from referrals. If you do something really nice for someone, they tend to tell somebody else. And they make comparisons. They always make comparisons. So what I do is, most of the time when I travel, I go to see what is out there and try and make adjustments here. And over time, that's how I've been able to bridge a brand for myself.
One major challenge that comes with a job is convincing people to pay a fair price.
The challenge has been able to convince people that, oh, this is my price and that is what I'm going to take. Because a lot of people just feel because in Nigeria here, you should actually sell less than your cost price, because we're encouraging, we're buying from you when we can as well buy from abroad. Do you understand? And I've had to deal with that to the point where I now got a tough skin to say, oh, I'm sorry, this is the price. I'm going to give you the best that I can give you, that you can not actually find abroad. So like I sit with you, we design a jewelry and you get it in less than 2 weeks.
Metal smithing and beading are two different aspects of jewelry making, but both go hand in hand.
These are embellishments. Making this whole front and making this earring is metal smithing. It's after I've done the metal smith part of carving all of it that I now string the beads. So you can have the beads strung in 1 layer or 3 layers like this, or weave it with tiny beads. These are some tiny beads that you weave. So I can as well do something like this and have something carved like this on top of it. So you have this. Stringing these beads on or weaving these beads into some form is beading. Carving this from molten metal, soldering, it's just like a regular goldsmith. You know, I think we're used to saying goldsmith. So when you say goldsmith, people kind of understand. So that is it. Like the goldsmith is carving the piece from scratch. While the metal, that's the metalsmith. While the beadwork is using the embellishment that the metalsmith has used to combine and make up your piece.
And the production of every necklace starts from the design stage.
From designing, there's some work that I have to design from the computer. I use a 3D, there's something called CAD/CAM, computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing. So computer-aided design is you start from the computer designing what you want to, the embellishment you want to do. So some pieces go through the CAD/CAM, which is computer-aided design, computer-aided machinery. Some actually go through the regular fabrication. Your regular fabrication is molten metal. You know, the olden days funnel blowing of melting your gold or your silver. Melting that and making your wire or your sheet to form whatever you want to do. You don't have to do 3D on that aspect. But there are some designs that can't go straight into carving because they're too technical. So for instance, a piece like this is too complicated for you to say you want to carve each one by hand. So what we do is a 3D image of something like this, then we can now carve the bezel that we use to set the stones by hand. So it's a combination of everything.
Valentina creates her art from beads on fabrics. This design is born from her creativity, as she says.
It's simply out of my creativity of what's in the mind and how I want to exude, you know, and tell the story. Each and every piece that we make, they're all unique and different. So the beadwork, it's really like a storytelling or like a more, you know, a creative mind being expressed. So there's no one that is the same. They're all uniquely different according to the sketch and drawing that I've made and the picture in my mind.
As a creative person, the idea of beading must come from a creative mind and a strong love for fashion.
I've always loved fashion. I've always loved being able to dress in a distinctive way. And I've always liked to express myself differently, a little bit more. And I needed to create a niche for myself. So since I know I was born with a creative mind, I saw myself exuding and representing my own style through beadwork. You know, from the patterns to the sketches to the dresses made and to the beadwork.
The beauty you see here starts from the mind.
Basically, first of all, the process starts, you know, from scratch, from the sketch. And then from the sketch to the dresses made. And then the beadwork on the dresses according to how they have been sketched on the clothes.
For a young girl venturing into this type of business, passion and skill is a necessary tool.
She has to have some level of interest and passion for fashion, first of all. She has to love it. She doesn't have to do it because she wants to make, you know, an income out of it. First of all, she really has to love it. And then she has to try to acquire some skills about it. You know, she needs to try to get into some form of, you know, training to be able to acquire certain skills that she's looking out for. Find out what it is, what are her interests, in what aspect does she find interesting in the fashion industry. And then be quite patient, because it takes a while. It takes nurturing to get to where you need to be.
As much as advertising is important, a creative person needs to put in their best to produce a good product.
I can tell you this for sure, you know, nothing good really hides. Nothing good really hides for a long time. And it's important to create a very good impression and create a very good relationship with your clients, because that's a very huge, great point or place for you to have huge referrals. And as much as you can say that not so much on the social media platform like you may think, but they also look out for information for what they want and when they need things that are very distinct.
Over the past 13 years, Wenger has built a brand making lovely jewelries from beads.
I got into it, would I say by accident? I started it on a whim. I didn't totally plan to start this or to be very serious with it. It was just supposed to be, another creative expression, because before then I had been doing a lot of other things, acting, singing, and what have you. I've tried my hands at many other things, textile design, fine arts, paintings, and all. So it was just supposed to be one of those things that I do for fun. So I started it, and it was at the time I was seeking admission into the university, so I never wanted to be idle. And along the line, it kind of stuck. It got interesting when it became a business. I started making money from it.
Although we believe that fashion comes and goes as with trends, Wenger, on the other end, believes the beads as a trend has never gone out of fashion.
Beads are still very much in vogue, or perhaps we should say it has evolved. Right now we have beads on clothes, we have beads on bags, on headbands like I mentioned. So there's a transformation. It's not as it used to be. So it has gone beyond just jewelry right now. It has transcended into accessories generally.
Making beads take time and a lot of dedication.
Painstakingly made. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of attention to details, a lot of concentration, a lot of creativity, innovation, blood, sweat, sometimes tears.
One challenge a beader could face is accidentally cutting the twine, setting you back a couple of days.
If you've started a job and then you have a timeline to deliver within maybe 3 days, 4 days, and all of a sudden, something, there can just be a mishap that will set you back 3 days, like back to square one in some cases. Do you understand that? So dealing with such frustration can be very, very, very annoying.
To have a fantastic finished product, using good beads is key. That's why it's important to be able to identify a good one.
If it doesn't peel, sometimes you just need to scratch the top. There's usually there's a hole drilled through the beads. That's where you use to thread your fishing line and all. So you can scratch the top. If it doesn't peel, it's good. Sometimes it's the weight. If you feel it in your hand, it's too light, you know that, okay, this is most probably synthetic, what we call plastic beads. And there's so many other things. If it doesn't fade, sometimes, especially pink, a pink beads is very, that one, like they say, get shame. It is very easy for you to tell that this is fake. You can just hold it in your hands and then it's peeling off.
Nigerians are very fashion conscious people. That's why they have largely received beads home and abroad.
In terms of value, not as many people, don't let me say not so many people value it, not as many people as would appreciate them. I think it is a case of see finish, like we would say, it's readily available. So many other people are doing it. So as a brand, we sell mostly to Nigerians in the diaspora.
One could look at the money made in this industry and think this is the way to go. But now, really, not all that glitters is gold.
Availability of resources can be very annoying. You have this brilliant idea in your mind, you have a picture of what it should look like, the quality you want and all, but you go searching and then you don't get that particular quality, or you don't get that particular kind of piece, because sometimes you go online searching for this stone, like, oh, this particular kind of stones, this particular kind of crystal is perfect for it. You don't get it. It's frustrating. You try to order it online, maybe you eventually even get it online. When you land, it can be a different color or not the same size like you expected, or it can be lost.
Yesterday for several years now runs a lifestyle brand where she has been able to play around with beads.
I moved back to Nigeria in 2006, January for NYSC. And I didn't want to just not do anything. And I'd previously been a fashion buyer. So I'd buy for boutiques, I'd do a collection for you, I'd buy for boutiques while I was in school because I really enjoyed, I've always enjoyed shopping, I've always enjoyed clothes. I've always been very comfortable around clothes. So I would always shop and I'd help store owners do like a mix and send to them. So when I was coming back to Nigeria, I didn't want to be idle. So I started with a lot of Swarovski, but it was really, really expensive. So I started, my first thing was T-shirts, Swarovski on T-shirts, so the stoned T-shirts, which is the first thing I did.
One thing that comes with beading is the cost attached to it. It can be very expensive.
One thing you can never take away from beadwork is the cost, the time it consumes. So it was always time consuming. It was never cheap. Even when people tried to make it cheap, you'd go to Tejo Show Market then, and there would be girls who would bead. I'm sure after a while it didn't pay them as well. So stones came, which were faster, and you buy your stoning machine for about 100,000 or 50,000 then, and then the sky was your limit.
And one of the major reasons beads are almost this expensive is because of the amount of time it takes to complete one job.
For one, it takes longer to produce it. So basically, if we're able to produce something that wasn't beaded, if we're able to produce 10, in that place we'll probably produce 2 beaded ones. We'll produce 2 beaded ones. So in the long run, the question is on us. The onus is on us. Does it, like, how financially viable is it for us? So I mean that's the question.
To be able to make the price point, one must be able to build a market strategically.
This work behind me, I think, took about 2 full months or 2 years to do. And so if you multiplied 5,000, exactly, if you multiplied 5,000 or 6,000 by 60 days, that's 300,000 on a dress. No, that's not the cost of the dress. That's cost of labor on beading. That's not tailoring. That's not fabric. So it's just like, but then the people who appreciate it.
With a small target market, it's important to widen your scope in business and make things people can wear on a daily basis.
People go to parties, yes, once a week, twice a week, but then people go to work every day. People need casual clothes more than they need. So it's a conscious decision and made to make things that are more adaptable to work. I mean, you can't turn up at work wearing that.
Fascinating for me is the amount of beaded work done on these throw pillows.
When we were going to start Dera, we decided to inculcate like beaded throw pillows. And that's because I'd been to India a couple of times. I'd seen the work they had done on throw pillows, table runners, very intrinsic, and it always stands out. So I decided to do them on Adire and on Ankara. Like this, and then they always stand out. When you put them on your furniture, especially like white, cream, and mix them, they always stand out. All of this was hand beaded for the throw pillows. This is Ankara, and this is an Adire one.
Diversification in the fashion business drove yesterday to delve into Adire, which seemed to be receiving a lot of traction.
It's amazing. It's the one thing that I didn't expect Adire to go this far. I found them really expensive. But the one thing that stood with me was that we always sold them out. We always sold. We never had Adire pieces like left in the store.
And one major challenge is faced is manpower. It's a general belief the foreigners seem to work harder than Nigerians.
For now, I think the major thing is there's no dignity in labor in Nigeria. Like people, I don't want to be the bricklayer. Like, be a bricklayer and be a good bricklayer. Be a tiler and be a good tiler. I posted something yesterday on my Instagram page about Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala with her appointment. I said, I'm sure most people were happy, but at the same time, most people will beat themselves up. Oh, I'm not an economist. I don't have a PhD. I don't have a doctorate. I can't be the WTO chairperson. I can't go. But I said, no, you can and you will. But we don't all have to go to World Trade Organization. Like, make an impact in the field you are in. Make an impact where you are. Don't stop learning. Don't stop pushing. Don't stop working. Don't stop in with what you do. If you're a teacher, teach well.
And to a young girl looking to start her own beading business, it's advised to look outside the box.
If you put your mind to something, do it and do it well. You might think nobody is watching, but what if everybody is watching? Like, you run, so like whatever you do, do it well. So I think people don't want to be labeled, oh, I'm a driver, and I don't think it should be like that. I don't know why we put labels on such things.
And that's it on the show today. Thank you so much for watching. If you missed any part of it, you can check it on our YouTube channel. You can also send your comments to the social media handles showing on your screen. Till I see you again next week, stay safe. Bye for now.